What makes a good, swashbuckling adventure film? And why have we seen so few of them in recent years? Indiana Jones was continuing a tradition that goes back to the very beginning of Hollywood. I'm not the first to point it out, but 1999's The Mummy is very much a successor to the Indiana Jones films.
I don't know what they've got there.
It's just about as close to Indiana Jones as you can get without Harrison Ford. What made this film the lovable joyride that it is, and what lessons can filmmakers take from it to resurrect this seemingly mummified genre? I'm AJ, a filmmaker and storyteller, and today, let's take a closer look at 1999's The Mummy. Be warned, spoilers ahead. The Mummy follows the Indiana Jones formula in blending action, humor, and a little bit of horror to achieve its signature tone. This can be challenging, but the film does it surprisingly well. If anything, it leans a bit more into the humor and horror than its inspiration does. We get the mood set right from the start, with the mummification of Imhotep, and the narrator's warning of the danger of awakening him.
A plague upon mankind, an unholy flesh-eater with the strength of ages.
This scary scene is then quickly followed by an exciting action scene, where Rick and his fellow foreign legionnaires do battle with an army of desert horsemen. On a completely unrelated note, more movies need to use the French Foreign Legion. The Legion has an inherent coolness and glamour to it that just works on film. We then transition to a humorous scene with Evie in the library, as she inadvertently plays dominoes with the bookshelves.
Compared to you, the other plagues were a joy.
I'm so very sorry it was an accident.
These three openings don't just showcase the film's tone, however. They also introduce us to our antagonist and our main characters. With the tone and characters established, we are ready for the adventure to come. The Mummy doesn't take itself too seriously.
Let me guess. Spring cleaning.
While they never completely break the fourth wall and just straight up talk directly to the audience, the characters, especially Rick, frequently comment on what is going on.
That happens a lot around here.
Scary or exciting moments can quickly turn funny, and this is achieved through some remarkable character work. The little expressions, movements, or lines of dialogue that these characters pull out at just the right moment are a great example of how to do comedic timing.
I love the whole sand wall trick. It was beautiful.
The film is not a comedy, but it is still hilarious. It also has some nightmare-inducing moments. As someone with poor eyesight myself, the scene of Burns losing his glasses and then peering around desperately as the mummy stalks him hits a little bit too close to home. Benny's ending is also terrifying. Although it is satisfying to see him get his comeuppance, it's still an awful way to go.
You know, nasty little fellows such as yourself always get their comeuppance.
They do.
Just like with Indiana Jones and its other forebears in the adventure genre, The Mummy gives a real sense of the setting's exotic glamour. The sand dunes, the camels, the ancient artifacts and architecture. The Egyptian desert is not a pleasant place, but it sure makes for a great setting for a story. There are many different types of film, and deep, thought-provoking films are important and necessary. There is also a need for films that aren't looking to explore any important topics, but to just give the viewer a fun time. The Mummy is certainly in the latter camp, just like most adventure films. Sure, these kinds of films may teach some lessons, like the value of heroism, selflessness, and not to mess with ancient cursed artifacts.
No! You must not read from the book!
But their main goal is not to be didactic. Instead, they just want to entertain. In fact, the deeper you think about these kinds of classic adventure films, the more you begin to see through the plot holes and convenient nonsense that the story requires to function. Why is there an ancient Egyptian punishment that curses someone with immortality and unstoppable powers? That kinda seems like the opposite of a punishment. And why are his powers based on the 10 plagues from the Book of Exodus? Those were plagues brought against the Egyptians, not plagues they somehow controlled. It's a bit like how the plot of Raiders of the Lost Ark would have ended almost exactly the same if Indiana Jones hadn't gotten involved. The Nazis still would have opened the Ark and melted themselves, thus solving the problem. However, there is no need to worry about such trifling details, because the point of adventure films is not to be airtight, rationally sound stories, but to be emotional stories. Hence the exotic settings, the over-the-top action, the romance, the frights, and the laughs. Adventure films as a genre are inherently escapist. You don't want to have to think too hard. The bad guys are bad, the good guys are good, and the story is exciting.
Rescue the damsel in distress, kill the bad guy, and save the world.
This may be one of the reasons we've not had any great adventure films in recent times. Modern filmmaking has taken a distinct turn towards didacticism, and this makes adventure films harder to pull off well. Indiana Jones wouldn't have worked if the point of the movie was to teach you why the Nazis are bad. Instead, you know the Nazis are bad, and thus can just enjoy the ride as Indy attempts to foil their plans. The same is true of The Mummy. The undead mummy is trying to destroy the world and hurt our heroes, so he has to be stopped. Simple as that. Commence the swashbuckling. Or, in this film's case, the blasting. The response to almost everything in this movie is guns, even the giant wall of sand shaped like the mummy's face.
This is our dig site.
We got here first.
So, if you want to revive the adventure genre, focus on funny people doing exciting and scary things in exotic places, without worrying too much about what the point of it all is. In terms of attractions you could visit, it's not a museum, it's a roller coaster, so strap yourself in and enjoy the ride. I hope you found this discussion about The Mummy engaging. If you'd like to see more videos about film, television, and storytelling, please subscribe. Leave a like, and let me know down in the comments what your favorite part of The Mummy is, or what film you think is the best in the adventure genre. Now, saddle your camel, grab your toolkit, take the lessons learned from The Mummy, and go create stories.